What's up, gang? Welcome back to another video. 4th of July just happened, and you know that feeling when you're walking back home from the bar or from hanging out with your friends and you've had a little bit too much to drink and you're stumbling down the roads at night and you're a little bit tipsy and the lights are kind of flashing at you and everything's a little bit hazy, maybe it's a little bit cold. This is the exact feeling that I'm talking about. Your eyes are glazed over and your feet feel heavy and there's no one around for some reason, but you're just in pure bliss, especially if there's a slight breeze. Like, let me know if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, today I'm going to be sound designing a sound in Serum 2 that feels just like that. I got some MIDI prepared. I'm gonna be honest, I stole this MIDI chord progression straight from Reggie on YouTube. I think his username is Reggie Knows. Either way, I'll link his YouTube channel down below because he's an awesome YouTuber and he makes some fantastic stuff. Shout out to him because I just ripped this straight from his channel. Let's have a listen to that. So pretty plain. Let's spice it up. I know that I want to make this a keys preset for sure, and one of the best bases for a key preset is simply a sine wave. I don't even have to change anything. I'm just going to move this wavetable position to number 2, and we have a sine wave. Sine waves are fantastic because they're naturally a very focused sound. As you can see here, it's literally just mono right down the center. No harmonics, nothing getting in the way. And now that we have that, we can start adding stuff around it in order to shape the sound and make it more detailed and more interesting. Even before I touch the other oscillators, I think I'm going to change my envelope a little bit just so I can get a feel for the sound. I'm going to change this to the attack to 20 milliseconds. I'm going to lower the decay and sustain a little bit, not too much though, and give the sound a bit of a release. I'm also going to go ahead and set my portamento time to 0.3 milliseconds. So just a little bit of portamento. And now we really have a fantastic base for a sound. And now we can use oscillators B and C in order to make this sound way more interesting. Let's turn on Oscillator B and change it from wavetable to multi-sample. Then I'm going to click here. Let's use a factory preset for today. Let's go to keys. And then maybe let's use this whirly preset. Let's see how that sounds alone. That's going to be a great layer to our sound. So now let's turn Oscillator C on and let's change this from wavetable to spectral. Let's go to the factory preset bank. Let's go to piano and then go to breathy piano-ish. Like, that texture is just phenomenal for key sounds, I think. Like, it really makes for a fantastic layer. So what I'm going to do immediately is I'm going to click on this filter right here and just cut out some of those lows. And now we can really afford to cut out a lot of those lows because we have this sine wave bass that's going to be playing those low MIDI notes, so they don't really need to be doubled. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the level to about, let's do 23% for both oscillators B and C, and you can just type those values in. I also just lowered the level of oscillator B to about 50%. So I think all of those 3 oscillators layer very nicely. Now we can move on to the noise. I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to go to my favorite noise. If you know, you know, the brown noise. And what I'm going to do immediately is I'll map envelope 1 to the level of our noise. I'm going to turn it all the way down and then pull the level down, the mapped level, to about 20%. And that way, the level is literally following the envelope. So we hear more noise at the start of the sound, and then it fades away. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to map the noise to this knob right over here. And then I'm going to change it to one of these warp modes. Bend plus or minus works really well for these sine wave sounds. I'm going to option shift click over here to make sure that it goes both ways and set the position here to about 40%. Let's solo just Oscillator A so you guys can hear what that sounds like now. All right, so now we can go ahead and turn on our filter number 1. I'm going to change it from NG Low 12 to, let's go to Miscellaneous, Scream LP. I'm going to increase the cutoff to about 2K, resonance to about 30%, drive almost all the way up, and then Scream will go at about 30%. I'm also going to make sure to map it to my oscillators A, B, C, noise, and enable key tracking. So So that's very intense. So I'm going to lower the mix down to about 2 or 3%. And then I'm going to go to LFO1. I'm going to make sure it's on envelope mode and set the rate to a quarter note. Then I'm going to drag LFO1 and map it to the scream. I'm going to Option Shift click to make sure that it modulates both ways. And I'm going to lower it to about 2 or 3%. And let's hear what that sounds like now. So I've increased that modulation to about -15% because I wanted to hear it a little bit more. And the mix is still at 2%. And now we have this beautiful digital sounding distortion, hiss, overtones that sound digital but also natural at the same time. So this is it without the filter and with the filter. So that's sounding lovely, and now we can go ahead and put some main effects on. So let's go to our effects bus. I'm going to add a chorus. I'm going to increase the mix to about 60%, and that should do for now. I'm going to add a flanger, and I'm going to lower the rate to about 17%. Let's pull up Ozone for a second, specifically the imager. So as we can see, it's not too wide of a sound, although I do want to pull it more in the mono direction. So I'm going to pull the width down to about 10%. And we can see on the imager that our sound is a little bit more mono now, which I like to have as an option. But what we can do is we can map a macro over here to the width, and I'm going to pull the max value down to about 30%. So that we have a macro over here to make the sound more mono and more stereo. And this is totally going to depend in the context of your production. In some productions, you might be able to get away with having a wider sound, and in some, you're going to want to pull it more mono. And now that we've made our sound a little bit more mono and sacrifice some of that stereo width, we can now go ahead and add a reverb. Let's put it on Hall, cut a lot of the lows out. Let's make the size big, why not? All right, so I've just raised the mix a little bit. I'm gonna increase the decay as well to about 7 seconds. And now I'm monitoring the imager again, just to make sure that the sound hasn't gotten too wide and too out of control. But yeah, this is something that I do often, is if I start with a sound that's inherently wide, I'll often make it more mono and then add a reverb, which is again going to make your sound wider. So it's all a game of trying to balance all the elements that you've added to your sound out. Simply put, I just don't want anything to be too wide or too mono. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a filter. I'm going to set it to the steepest filter, which is MG Low 24. I'm going to raise the cutoff all the way, and then I'm going to take a macro knob and map it to the cutoff over here so that now we have a macro knob that acts as a filter cutoff. Great, so I'm pretty much happy with the sound now. I think I've added enough elements. Maybe later I'm going to make it more complicated, but for now I think this will absolutely do. Let's hear the sound in the context of productions. I've made like a little A section right over here, followed by a B section. Obviously we have the sound that we just designed. That's this serum. And I'm just using a regular auto filter. I could have also automated the macro knob that we just used. I've got it automated over here to do a low pass at 650 Hertz, and then it opens up in the B section. I also layered some keyscape pianos. We can take a look at those. They sound like this. That's gonna be the wing upright from Keyscape. And then I've slapped on UAD's Ocean Way, which is a room emulation plugin. I'm pretty sure this is just the default setting that it opens up to. I've layered some bedroom ambiance here. It's literally just mostly white noise. For the B section, I added a bass from Analog Lab. It is this SH101 bass. Then I also added a little pad. Again from Analog Lab. It's the Deep Space preset. And then I simply just added a kick for the B section and a little perk hit. Great, so let's play the whole sound. that will just about do it for this week's video, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you guys have any questions, something that I didn't explain so well. Really hope you found some value in this video. As always, I have a bunch of free resources available on my Gumroad. The link is in my bio. I'm talking about the Prophet 5V guide if the Prophet synthesizer ever confused you. I'm talking about Afro House kicks, Serum 2 samples. All of that good stuff is available for absolutely free via the link in my bio. Thank you so much again for sticking around if you made it to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. I've been having so much fun making these videos and reading your guys' comments. It's been a blast. Thank you for the support again. Have a good night. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.